first start off by saying welcome to another episode of Pearl Daily. So the sexual revolution is most commonly referred to as the time in the 1960s and 70s where in Western culture, American culture in particular, changed its attitude towards sex, physical intimacy between men and women. One of the major contributions to this is the introduction of oral birth control pill. Women, for the first time, could have sex with men with a minimized risk of pregnancy. The first oral contraceptive pill was approved by the FDA in 1960, and within 2 years, with over 1.2 million women using it, by 1965, 1 in 4 married women under the age of 45 were using or had tried the pill. By 1984, 50 to 80 million women were using the pill, and by 2013, over 100 million women were using the birth control pill. You're hearing these numbers and thinking, wow, this is a great solution. It's like magic. It solved all of women's problems. But what these women did not consider were the side effects of hormonal birth control. The most common side effects include nausea, headaches, increased blood pressure, mood swings, weight changes. And the more serious side effects include blood clots, anxiety, stroke, and deep vein thrombosis. Birth control has become accepted as part of American culture that many mothers put their daughters on it at the age of 16 in their teenage years. And this has led to many women being on birth control for decades without thinking, because they're too dumb to think about the long-term side effects. And by the way I phrased that is that mothers put their daughters on birth control. But to be honest, these daughters are sleeping with Pookie and Ray Ray. These mothers don't know what to do. They're like, I can't stop her. She's crawling through the window to sleep with Pookie and Ray Ray. And so whenever women give these sob stories about getting put on birth control by their parents, I want you to ask yourself, why would the parents put them on birth control? It's probably because she was doing some hoe shit. You know what I mean? Now, the long-term effects of hormonal birth control is what we're going to talk about on today's show. This will be a call-in show, so when you do call in, tell me your opinion on the pill. Do you think it was a good or a bad thing for society? And what has your experience been with birth control? And if you have a daughter, did she put herself on birth control? Or did you put her on birth control? Would you? Now, I do want to give a little preface. I want to tell you my experience with birth control. So, when I was 16, I was pretty innocent, to be honest. Like, I was a very innocent. I know, obviously you probably aren't going to believe me. I guess I'm a woman. I've got to signal purity, right? But I'll tell you what, when I was in high school, I didn't do much. I was very into volleyball. I'm kind of the same as I am now. I'm pretty into my channel. So I was pretty busy, right? And there were... I always remember going to football games and being bored. There's something wrong with me, I think, because I don't think I get social gratification from just sitting and hanging out all day. I just don't. I don't really want to sit and play. I want to go learn something. That's just kind of how I go do something. It's just how I've always been, you know. I always got most improved on the team because other girls had lives. Not me. So, I've always just been kind of weird. I've been a little strange, a little odd, I'll say. So when I was 16, I remember women on my team were going on birth control. And at this time, I don't want to say when I became sexually active, I'm 28 now, but I'll just say this. At that time, I wasn't, right? And the girls on my team were starting to get on birth control. And I remember telling the women on my team at the time, hey, I think this could have side effects. I don't know, I'm not a doctor, I don't know, but I'm just logically thinking about it. And I'm thinking, this can't be good for you. It just can't, you cannot shut off your fertility. You can't shut off your fertility and not have any consequences. So I'll hear women like this, and I just thought of this when I was talking, like Alex Clark. And these women take no accountability because when I, at the time, said this to my fellow teammates, they all laughed at me. They all kind of looked at me like I was stupid. And I thought, okay, have fun. Now, I'm not going to, purity signal here and act like I never tried the pill or anything. But I'll say this. I barely did. I was on it 1, maybe 2 years. And my personal experience was I had no side effects. I felt fine. But I still just had this voice in the back of my head that said, I don't think I can be on this and not have a consequence. So I went to the doctor and I told them this, and they all said, no, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna get off it. And because I always felt like my health was in my hands. I always felt like my health was my responsibility. It wasn't the doctor's responsibility or what society tells me. And what all these women are going through is they hit 30. They've gotten chlamydia too many times. They're infertile, which if a woman tells you she has fertility issues, it very well may be chlamydia, gonorrhea, or birth control. So a choice, right? So here, this is Alex Clark. I think it was this one.
Pediatricians wasted no time telling us that there was a magic pill that could solve all of our problems in a 10-minute wellness checkup with...
Like, how stupid can you be? You deserve it, Alex. If you have issues because of being on birth control for a decade, that's your own fault. You deserve it. And I mean that. You really do deserve that. And it's kind of like, the other day I got locked out of my Twitter account. Some guy from India called me, and I fell for a stupid scammer email. It was so stupid. And I got locked out of my account, and they started pushing Bitcoin. I have it back now, but I did get locked out for like a week. And I didn't even feel bad for myself because it was so stupid. I was like, I deserved that. And Alex Clark is trying to blame the doctors when it's like, bitch, Google's existed. And you could Google the side effects then. I remember. Because I remember Googling this stuff. So I'm getting pretty sick and tired. Of women blaming everybody else for the birth control side effects. Can we change the title to Modern Women Blame Birth Control for the Consequences of Being a Hoe? I just think that's better.
No informed consent about the risks or side effects. What problems were we solving exactly? A couple pimples. We were advised to not...
Now, this is oh my God, can you imagine this at home? Oh my God, the nagging. So now she's going to blame it. She's going to blame it on... because they did give you birth control for acne. But remember, women love plausible deniability. So, the moms might be like, hey, honey, get on this birth control for the acne. But really, she's noticed that you've snuck out 5 times this week and is like, we can't have her get pregnant by Gavin the Starving Musician, Tyrone, Glocktavia. Like, we can't do that. So
don't worry about learning to track our cycle or understand our hormones. No conversation about how our likelihood to experience anxiety or depression.
I looked it up myself. And that's why I get so pissed. Because, I went to Catholic school. I got worse than you guys. I got a chastity talk at Catholic school from a run-through hoe and a simp. I went to Catholic school, and they had Jason Everett and Christiana Everett, and you can Google them. You can Google their speeches. Christiana Everett, she came in and basically talked about how she was a hoe, and now she hoes no mo, and then she married Jason. That's like the gist of it. And we had that every year. No sex ed, no nothing. But again, I wasn't retarded, and I'm just so tired of women acting like... Look, everything in life is a calculated risk. You can't do anything in life without taking risk. So if you want to go get banged out or whatever and not get pregnant, then wear a condom. And if you can't do that, it's just so irritating.
Would increase by 80% on the pill. We stayed on the pill because no one advised us it was only ever supposed to be taken temporarily.
So stupid. Oh my God, she's so dumb. Like, you know what I mean? I have no medical background, none. And I could have figured that out. I did figure that out. And I was on it, but I was on it for a very short period of time. And I got my fertility tested. Look, I got flying colors. I I got it tested last year. They're like, your hormones flying colors. It's called not being retarded, ladies.
Then we wanted to have children. We got off birth control for the first time in our adult lives, only to discover that we had major fertility issues that the hormonal birth control hid. Suddenly,
bro, you have fertility issues because you're like 32. And I'm not knocking it. Like, I'm 28, you know, it's like I'm old too, but it's like, come on.